guys, it's Hood here and welcome back to another video. Today I'm talking about axolotls, the differences between Minecraft axolotls and real life axolotls, and the importance of why you shouldn't impulse buy an axolotl. So axolotls just came out in Minecraft recently, and I know people are really excited about that. I have noticed that since they got released in Minecraft, I've been receiving heaps of comments and messages about axolotls and if I think they should get one or if they're like old enough to get one, and I felt I should make another video about axolotls because I have made a care video about axolotls before. I know that since the update people have been really wanting to get axolotls as pets, and I know there's probably a lot of kids that are bothering their parents about getting an axolotl, and a lot of kids that really want to get one because they're in Minecraft, and Minecraft is really popular at the moment. Well, it always kind of has been, but it seems to be super popular at the moment. Now, I don't play Minecraft currently, but I did used to be super into it when I was young. I did have an obsessive Minecraft phase, like I'm sure a lot of us did, or are currently having. But I'm not currently playing it, but every now and then I might play it again with my friends because it's still a fun game. But you know, like a lot of people, I was pretty interested when I saw that axolotls were coming into Minecraft. I'm someone who owns an axolotl. I have owned a few axolotls before. I just have one axolotl at the moment. Her name's Toothless, and a lot of people don't seem to realize that there is a lot of care that goes into axolotls that you need to think about before getting one. And you shouldn't just get an axolotl because you saw it on Minecraft and wanted to get one because of Minecraft, because they're living things, they're a big commitment, and they do need a lot of care that you may not realize they need. I've also been getting a lot of comments that like see my axolotl videos and they say, wow, I didn't realize that these were a real animal, I just thought they were in Minecraft. So yeah, that's kind of shocking to me. But anyways, obviously Minecraft is a video game. Obviously, I don't expect people to think everything from Minecraft is accurate to real life, but there is a lot of people that do think it is accurate, especially kids, and there are a few differences between real life axolotls and Minecraft axolotls. So let's talk about those first. So axolotls in Minecraft come in a few different colors. They come in pink, white, yellow, brown, and blue. So all of these are real colors you can get axolotls in, except for blue. Unfortunately, blue axolotls do not exist, but I really wish they did. That would be super cool. But yes, so you can get pink axolotls, also known as leucistic axolotls or albino axolotls if they don't have black eyes. You can also get yellow axolotls, also known as golden axolotls. They are often albino axolotls as well. Brown axolotls, you can't commonly find them in the same shade of brown that Minecraft has them in, but more commonly you'll find black axolotls. And I was really surprised that they didn't have fully black axolotls in Minecraft, because that is the most common type of axolotl you find, and actually the only type of axolotl that you can find in the wild. You cannot find golden or leucistic axolotls in the wild. You can only find wild type axolotls, which are the black ones. And I really like the wild type axolotls, so I was kind of sad that I didn't have them in Minecraft. They have like these brown ones, but they don't really look like wild type axolotls. It seems a lot of people think that pink axolotls are like the natural color of axolotls, but that's not really true. Well, obviously they are a natural axolotl, it's just they are bred intentionally that way. There are also a lot of different types of axolotl morphs that you can find from breeders and stuff. Some of them are worth like hundreds of dollars because they're really rare morphs. Unfortunately, here in New Zealand, we don't get any of those cool morphs. I really wish we did. But yeah, there is a few different really cool morphs out there. But yeah, like I said, those ones can sometimes be really expensive because they're a bit rarer, but sadly no blue ones. So in Minecraft, axolotls can live on land for 5 minutes. I'm actually really glad they did add this into the game. I was worried that they would make it so axolotls could just like live on land forever, so I'm glad that they made it so they can only live on land for 5 minutes, because this is kind of accurate. I mean, there's not really a time limit, but axolotls are fully aquatic animals and they do not come out of the water naturally. They spend their whole life in water. So taking an axolotl out of water is a very stressful and painful experience for them. You should never take your axolotl out of water unless it's 100% necessary, like if you're transporting them for whatever reason. Hey, come here. Oh. See, like I said, I'm actually really glad that they did that in Minecraft, because I was really worried they wouldn't, and that kids would think that it's okay to take their axolotl out of water. I still think that kids might think it will be okay to take them out of water for 5 minutes, so I hope that no kids do that. But yeah, just because they can live out of water in Minecraft for 5 minutes does not mean that you should do that in real life, obviously. It's a very stressful experience for them and it's not necessary at all. A lot of people do get axolotls mixed up with other salamanders, like tiger salamanders, which do look similar to axolotls at first, but they do come out of water and they lose their gills and stuff. Axolotls don't do this, although there has been instances of axolotls actually morphing. It's a very rare thing and not something that you should do on purpose. It's considered very cruel to make your axolotl morph because it's not natural for them. It's extremely painful and it shortens their lifespan by a huge amount. So yes, there are people that have actually morphed axolotls before, but I don't like to say that axolotls can do that because it's not something that they usually survive, and it's not something that people should be doing to axolotls. I have also heard of axolotls morphing on accident, but this is usually caused by really poor water conditions, so it's not a good thing if your axolotl morphs. In Minecraft, axolotls can also sometimes be found in the ocean. This isn't true in the wild. Axolotls are very endangered in the wild, so it's not common to come across them anyway. They can only be found in one lake in Mexico. They're extremely endangered and it's very rare to find them in that lake now because of the pollution in there. There's definitely not many of them in the wild, unfortunately. But they do breed very well in captivity. So they're not endangered in captivity, which people tend to get a bit confused about, but they are very endangered in the wild. My birds are flying around a lot today, so sorry about that. I have actually had comments from people saying that I shouldn't own axolotls because they're endangered. I guess people don't really understand the difference between captive bred axolotls and wild axolotls because there's a very big difference. I wouldn't be able to own a wild axolotl. That would be probably illegal. Yeah, axolotls cannot be found in the ocean. They are not saltwater animals, and saltwater would actually kill them pretty horribly, so yeah, don't put salt in their water. I believe also they can be found in caves in Minecraft, which is a bit more accurate. I'd say they do really like dark spaces, so this kind of makes sense, you know? In Minecraft, you feed your axolotls tropical fish. This is, it depends on the situation. Axolotls can eat guppies, which are a tropical fish, but that should only be a very occasional treat for them. But yeah, you can feed them like guppies every now and then, but it's not something that they need. I have actually had people ask me where I buy fish to feed my axolotls, and I'm gonna assume they got that from Minecraft because it's pretty well known in the axolotl community that axolotls should be fed earthworms. Earthworms is probably the best thing you can feed them, but also Rapashi grub pie is what I feed my axolotl because it's like impossible to buy earthworms where I live. But yeah, Rapashi grub pie is a great option as well, but earthworms is also really good for them. An occasional guppy won't hurt them, but it's not really something that needs to be fed. And also, if they don't eat the guppy, you do have to remove them because the guppy can potentially nip their gills. In Minecraft, axolotls can regenerate limbs. And yes, this is true, axolotls can regenerate limbs in real life, which is pretty awesome. So yes, if an axolotl loses a leg, like sometimes one axolotl will eat another axolotl's legs because they can be cannibalistic sometimes, especially if one's smaller than the other. But yeah, they can regrow that whole limb back, which is pretty awesome. It can take a couple of weeks, couple of months, depending on how much of that limb needs to grow back. They can grow back pretty much any part of their body, but do be aware that sometimes when axolotls do grow back limbs, they can sometimes grow back a little bit funky. Sometimes they can grow back with multiple toes, and sometimes they can grow back a wee bit deformed. So as much as it's cool that they regrow back limbs, it's not really a good thing for your axolotl to lose limbs. If your axolotls are eating each other's limbs, it's definitely not a good sign, and they should be separated if one of them is aggressive. It's not very common for axolotls to be aggressive towards other axolotls, but when they're at their young stage, like babies, they often can become cannibalistic. And there can be chances too where axolotls don't regrow their limbs. It's more common for them to regrow, but sometimes the occasional axolotl just won't regrow back their limbs, especially if they've lost their limbs multiple times. My axolotl Toothless actually has some damage to her tail that she's had ever since I got her a couple of years ago, and it hasn't grown back. I'm not sure why. I think it might be due to her age because she is a bit of an old axolotl. I think she's about 5 years old, maybe older. The person who I got her from wasn't completely sure. Axolotls are also the only animal that regrows back their organs, which is pretty cool, but obviously you should never let your axolotl get to the point where they're losing limbs and stuff all the time. That's definitely not a normal thing. Axolotls are a big commitment than you might think. They can actually live up to 15 years. So if you get an axolotl that's only a baby, you gotta think about the future, and if you believe that you'll still be capable of looking after him in the future, you know, maybe you'll be moving out or going to college or something, I don't know. So it's very important to think about that beforehand because unfortunately so many axolotls and all animals really get rehomed, which can be very stressful for them, and often they have to go through multiple homes from multiple people because people don't realize how much work goes into caring for them. You also might be aware of that, I'm gonna be honest, axolotls aren't the most interesting pet. You know, they look really cool in Minecraft, they're always swimming around and stuff, but The reality is axolotls don't really do anything. Most of the time axolotls just sit at the bottom of the tank and don't move for long periods of times, and that's normal and actually a good sign. If your axolotl was constantly moving around, that would actually be a bad sign and could mean that your tank is potentially too hot for them or they're stressed somehow. Axolotls are often more active at night when your lights are off, which is normal, but if they're very active during the day all the time, that could actually be a bad sign. Axolotls are very lazy animals. They don't really do a whole lot. They just kind of sit there, and not everyone's into that, and that's okay. They're still really awesome animals and can still be very interesting to watch, especially when you're feeding them. But yeah, some people might find them a bit boring. They're definitely not for everyone. You also should be aware that axolotls can be a bit costly sometimes. You do have to buy a good sized tank for them. They need a tank that's at least 60 centimeters long and 30 centimeters wide. That is a good size for one axolotl. If you want to have two axolotls, the best size tank for that is a 150 liter tank. They can grow to about 30 centimeters long, so they do need a lot of space. They also need a filter. You can use a sponge filter or any kind of low flow filter. They don't like to have too much flow in their water. They also need some kind of hiding places, some kind of cave in their tank, because they do prefer to have the darker tanks. They don't necessarily need lights in their tanks, but if you do have live plants in your tank, you can use a low light that's not too bright for them. You also need to have your tank cycled. This is a very important step that a lot of people don't realize you need to do before getting an axolotl. You could risk potentially killing your axolotl if you don't cycle your tank. Ammonia poisoning is super common in axolotls, and it's super important to test your water before you get an axolotl and make sure your tank is fully cycled, which can potentially take weeks to months. Cycling can be a big process, so I highly recommend you do some research on that, because there is a lot to talk about and I don't really want to talk about in this video. There's a lot of videos about cycling tanks. It's definitely something that you must do before getting an axolotl. If you're not willing to do that research, then don't get an axolotl. It's that easy. So you can get water tested at some pet stores, or you can buy a master test kit, which I would recommend having because it's just a bit easier. But yeah, a lot of pet stores will test your water for free depending on where you live. Axolotl tanks don't have to be too exciting. They don't really need a lot, mainly just a cave or two, a filter. You can add some plants if you want to. Just make sure, if they are fake plants, make sure they're not sharp because you can hurt your axolotl. Axolotls do not need a heater because they're cold water animals. You do have to make sure that your water temperature is under 20 degrees Celsius, which is 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Because if your water's at that temperature or warmer, it can be very stressful for your axolotl. They are cold water animals, and if you live in an area that's very hot and the temperature of the water gets quite high, then you'll have to install some kind of fan above the tank or get a chiller. But if you're not willing to get a chiller or install a fan, then don't get an axolotl because they're cold water animals. You can have sand at the bottom of your tank, or you can have just bare bottom. That's fine too. Most axolotls don't really mind. But you cannot have gravel in your tank, which is another big mistake by some axolotl owners. Gravel is very dangerous for axolotls because they can very easily ingest it, and it's super common for axolotls to ingest gravel, not be able to pass it, which can kill them. So don't put gravel in your axolotl tank. So if you listen to all that and you still want to get an axolotl, then that's great. There's lots of axolotl rescues out there you can look into if you want to. There is a lot of reputable breeders out there too, which I would recommend instead of a pet store. But rescuing is always a good option because there's a lot of axolotls out there that may need new homes. So yeah, that is some information about axolotls. I tried to fit as much as I could in this video without it being too long. So I really hope this video could help you decide if you want to get an axolotl. Hopefully make you realize that you shouldn't impulse buy one just because they're in Minecraft. I love axolotls. I think they make really great pets for certain people. Not everyone should be an axolotl owner, and that's fine. Make sure you do a lot of research because there's a lot to learn about axolotl keeping, and it's very important you do as much research as possible before getting a new pet. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any other videos you'd like to see me do in the future, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Check out my second channel if you want. I make anime videos and doll videos on there, so go check it out if you want to. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!